Say it. Oh, hello. Well, welcome to the third episode of Dollar Store Stereography, and this is going to be a short and a sweet episode. Yes, thank you very much. Today we are making a stereo baselet, and what is a stereo baselet? Stereo baselet is a bracelet or some sort of necklace or some sort of gadget that you can make that will help you measure the distance of your stereo base. So a stereo base can be calculated usually by the interocular distance. It's going to be about 2.5 inches, or I think 65 centimeters. Oh, millimeters, my bad, 65 millimeters, which is about 2.5 inches big, which is basically the interocular distance. That means the area of space between your two eyeballs, between your two pupils. And there are different stereo cameras that have different interocular distances. This is a stereo realist, and the stereo baseline on this one, I believe, is about 2.5 inches, right? Something like that. That's about 2.5 inches. So this would have a stereo baseline that if you use, there's a 1/30th rule, which means that 1/30th should be the distance. Say it again, baby.
Would you like me to jump in?
Yeah, can you jump in? He's going to do my math for me because, like, I as much as I know how to do it, I don't know how to explain it as well, so.
Yeah, math's no fun. Hi, it's me, Sam Dole. So, the distance between your two lenses here, your interocular distance, should be 1/30th of the distance from you to the nearest thing in your frame. So, in the case of a stereo realist, which typifies most 35 millimeter stereo cameras, the distance ought to be just over 6 feet. So
your minimum distance.
Minimum distance. So 30 times 2.5 is 75 inches, which is about 6.25 feet.
And that's the math I couldn't do right now. I'm not about to do simple math and screw that up for you guys. Whereas something like this is a stereo duplex. This is a duplex super, and this has a very small interocular distance. Can you measure that?
So that would be, and when we talk about interocular, we're talking about from basically the center of the lens to the center of the lens. So that's about 1.25 inches on this camera, which makes it more optimal for close-up. The minimum focus on this camera, at least what's marked, is 1 meter, or just about 3 feet. So this is better for close-up than something like this.
Now
all right,
then,
there you go.
If you're not using a stereo camera to take your pictures and you're using something like a smartphone, which everybody is using, I'm using it, you're going to need something to basically measure your baseline. And to do that, unless you're carrying a ruler around, which is going to be sticking out of your pocket, I like to use bracelets. So you could use anything you want. You could use a necklace, you could use a keychain, you could use a bracelet. I like slap bracelets because they stay straighter. And can I have your phone for a second? So this, if you just use it, you could snap a picture, take another one, snap a picture to have it measured out. You could also do something like take beads and just bead yourself a bracelet, which is what I do. And even though I like the slap bracelet the best because you could use it to hold your camera and stuff like that, this I have a bead that actually goes back and forth, and I'll just take my phone and I will take off my bracelet and I'll just feel it with my hand as I'm going across. I'll start it on one side and I'll take a picture, and then I'll pull it and I'll take another picture, and I'll know that the distance between the two areas that I just snapped the picture is a stereo baseline. Now then, you don't have to use a bracelet. You could use something like my boyfriend has it on his keychain. So I made him a keychain that has a little, just like a little, what is this? What do you call this? A charm? Okay.
Charming.
So yes, I'm charming, right. So I just have a charm bracelet right here that basically what I would do is feel with my hand. I would take a picture, slide it across, and then I know that the second picture that I take will be the correct stereo baseline. And then we have more on here. That's if we're going to take a hyper stereo. That's something with a much larger baseline. That would be a much larger area. Like if we're taking something down, basically like about the size of a city block, usually is about this size. I forget what size I made this. That's kind of stupid of me. But I think this one is about 7 inches. Something like that. Oh, excuse me, this one is 8 inches. Yeah, so I made this 8 inches. So what's the baseline on that? The minimum distance is...
Oh.
This is a very short one, guys, but it still helps. And by the way, if you want to add different charms and stuff like that, this is basically the whole hack right here. Say again?
20 feet.
20 feet, yeah, exactly. So that's basically like down like half a city block when we're taking that. Now then, you can make them out of bracelets, you can make them out of necklaces. I actually have earrings, which aren't to measure stereo baselines. I made these just in case I don't have my anaglyph glasses on, and they're transparent and they have red and blue lenses, so that way I can see anaglyphs when I don't have my anaglyph glasses with me. And these are just like little things that you can make that you can always have on you. If you don't want to wear a bracelet, again, you could make it on a keychain, you can make it on a necklace, you can make them into earrings, you can do whatever you want. And these are just like simple little hacks that you could do to help you measure your stereo baseline and take more accurate stereos. And my boyfriend wants me to explain a baseline again. And a stereo baseline is basically the distance between snapping one picture and snapping another picture when you're doing a cha-cha, or between the lens, the interocular distance between your eyes is usually the stereo baseline that you want to measure for, because that will give you an accurate stereo baseline for human vision. But if you're taking something like a hyper, that'll be more accurate to whatever your baseline would be at a larger scale. And as I said right now, this is about 8 inches between this charm and this charm. So I have one for a regular stereo baseline, which is 2.5 inches. And if I extend it more, this is for 8 inches. And you said that would be a minimum distance about 20 feet. And that's the 1/30th rule can be used kind of across the board. There are definitely like different scenarios where the math has to get more involved, and I'm not going to get involved into that because I'm much more of a doer than much more of a mather. Believe me, you don't want me to do your math for you ever. But that's about it, and I'm sorry that this one is so short this week. Last week's was very, very, very long. And by the way, Franklin London, I still have to send you a set of stereo cards because we picked your name out of a hat and you won. So that's it for this week. And next week's is going to be very fun because we're going to be making something basically for stereo shadowgraphs, which is anaglyph shadow projection, and that gets to be really, really cool. It's one of the first types of live performances and what they used to have before stereo movies back in the 1900s when stereo movies were first made and shown to theaters and shown in crowds in theaters. And that's about it. I'm still working on a lesson from last week that we constructed a stereoscope, basically a home style stereoscope. I'm trying to make it a very short and sweet for that because that episode went on for an hour and a half, and I would not do that to anybody to put that back online for you guys. But that's it, and I'll be putting this right back up online. So just again, so everybody to know that a stereo bracelet is just basically making a bracelet with something that can measure the interocular distance, or basically any stereo baseline that you want. If you want it to be longer than 2.5 inches, just make sure that you have another charm that you can feel with your fingers as you drag your smartphone across, because that's when you're going to take your pictures and you don't have to measure it. You'll have it already pre-measured for you right there, and it's just a simple, quick little hack that anybody can do. Basically, yes, we got jokes too over here. So, welcome to, or thank you for joining Dollar Store Stereography. And sorry that it's so short today, but I don't know how else to run on how to do this. You can make it out of anything. You can make it out of a piece of string that you tied knots to if you wanted, which is why I didn't put up a shopping list beforehand, because you could literally make it out of anything. You could tie knots in a rubber band and put it on your wrist. You can do anything with these. There's the sky is the limit. You're limited by your own imagination. And you can have fun with it. You can make it as charming as you want, ha 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 ha, or as simple as you want. Something like this with just a marker that has your distances measured out on it. I tend to like slap bracelets a lot because I can do a lot with them. I could even hold a camera upright if I wanted to, something like that. They're really just great for like anything. Plus, like, slap bracelets are just a lot of fun. But that's about it. And I hope to see you guys next week for the next episode. And have a terrific rest of your afternoon or evening wherever you are in the world. And thank you very much for tuning in. Bye. How do I do this? Oop. Nope. Baby, you're going to have to help me.